Yes, it's time for another album ranking. Today we are ranking Immolation. That's right. In case you don't know, Immolation are a death metal band. They are old school death metal, especially throughout the albums Dawn of Possession, Hereafter, and even Failures for God. But they really did change the sound towards the Blackened Edge style with albums such as Close to World Below, Unholy Cult, and the lyrical style of Immolation is blasphemy. Ross Dolan writes lyrics about anti-Christianity, religion, and everything like that, but they did change their style, they did change their lyrical style throughout Harnessing Ruin, and focus more on the political and dark side of humanity. So, we have 10 albums to rank for Immolation. They are one of my favourite death metal bands at the moment. I did explore these guys this year, and today I'm going to give you an album ranking from the worst album to the best album based on my opinion. Immolation are an incredibly consistent band. They are as consistent as Incantation in my opinion. They are also associated with Incantation, with John McEntire also playing with Immolation throughout some of the live shows. So let's get on with the ranking. First of all is Harnessing Ruin. This is the weakest album in my opinion. Now, I do really enjoy it. I love this album. It's the production. The production is incredibly muddy on this album. There are some melodic themes, and I just love the dissonant moments as there are awesome drum fills. Ross Dolan's vocals are absolutely fantastic. In case you don't know, Ross Dolan's vocals are polarizing for some. When I first heard of Dawn of Possession, I thought his vocals were incredibly unique, and I didn't like his vocals. And it took me a while to really enjoy his vocals, and finally his vocals finally clicked to me after listening to Dawn of Possession again, and yeah, I really enjoy his vocals. So his vocals are incredibly polarizing and divisive for a lot of fans out there, for a lot of people out there that never have heard of Immolation. They are incredibly guttural and demonic at times, but he does get to those high notes at times, and especially throughout Harnessing Ruin, along with My Own Enemy and Swarm of Terror, you can really hear the dynamic range throughout the great songwriting on this album, along with the vocals as well. I love the dissonant melodies, the guitar riffs as well are absolutely fantastic, and Harnessing Ruin is overall a pretty good album, but I just feel the production does let Immolation's Harnessing Ruin down. So Harnessing Ruin, in my opinion, is the weakest album. Next up is Kingdom of Conspiracy. Kingdom of Conspiracy is Immolation's first concept album, talking about conspiracies, the dark side of mankind. Some really good moments as well. There are some atmospheric moments along with incredible hard-hitting moments. This is definitely one of the most heaviest albums in my opinion, but the production on this album is incredibly crisp. It's crisp, but yet there are some melodic moments. Songs like Kingdom of Conspiracy is just such a hard-hitting song, along to Bound to Order. I love Dolan's vocals on this, along with the intricate guitar melodies, intricate guitar lead you are getting, the use of the pinch harmonics as well throughout the songs, along with the power, along with the chord progression. You got Echoes of Despair, Indoctrines, very heavy songs. Serving Divinity being my favorite song off the album. Overall, Kingdom of Conspiracy is another solid album by Immolation, but it's the second weakest in my opinion. Next up is Majesty and Decay. This is when Immolation went to Nuclear Blast, I believe, and the production and sounding and the overall mix really improved from the previous albums. Although this is definitely one of the most atmospheric albums you could say by Immolation, especially with the interludes that create this overall feeling that you're locked in the hall, because this album is another solid album by Immolation. Got Token of Malice, got songs like Majesty and Decay. I love Dolan's vocals on that, and you got Glorious Epoch, how aggressive his vocals are on that, how dissonant the melodies are, and the drumming is absolutely out of this world with the odd time signatures and the crazy moments. And you got songs like The Rapture of Ghost, Power and Shame is definitely one of my favorite songs off the album. And you got The Comfort of Cowards to end off the album. Majesty and Decay is an awesome album, definitely the most atmospheric album you could say, with some really interesting moments such as the intro and the interlude as well, which creates that atmosphere. But overall, this is definitely a very solid album by Immolation. Next up is Unholy Cult, and this pains me to put this here. It really does, but Unholy Cold is so damn good. This is a follow-up from the previous album, Close to a World Below. Close to a World Below will be featured later on. Immolation definitely incorporates some more Blackened edge on this album. They really do change the sound throughout this album overall, like of Martyrs and Men. You got Unholy Cold, which is an 8-minute song. You got Kingdom Divided and Bring Them Down, which is an amazing song. I do really love the drumming on this. I love the guitar work, some really awesome moments, some odd time signatures, quite technical and progressive as well. Ross Dolan's vocals are very demonic in tone, but he doesn't sound as evil as Close to a World Below. The vocals and overall melody on this are quite infectious in tone, and there are some quite melodic moments on this, very similar to Harnessing Ruin, but this is much more of an evil sounding album. Since I talk about anti-Christianity, religion, this is the last album, their last album before they move on towards the politics and dark side of humanity with Harnessing Ruin. But overall, Immolation Unholy Cult is like probably a 9 out of 10. It's such a good album. Next up is Shadows in the Light, which was released in 2007. And you know what, this is a really good album by Immolation. Now I do really love the dissonant melodies throughout this album. It's one of the most melodic albums by this band, you could say. It's catchy. I love the riffs. The riffs are so damn catchy. It's riff-tastic. The Weight of Devotion, Deliver of Evil. It's an incredibly catchy album, and I prefer this album to a lot of Immolation albums just because I love the fucking catchiness on this. To end off the album, you got Whispering Death. I love Whispering Death. Ross Dolan incorporates cleaner vocals on this album, and his harsh aggressive vocals are still present like most of these songs. Passion Kill is another great song off the album. Great guitar riffs, great melodies, awesome solos as well. This is more of a melodic album by Immolation, and the catchiness is out of this world. Like, there are incredibly catchy songs on this album. Shadow in the Light sits here. Next up is Failures for Gods. This is an absolutely fantastic album. This is like the Dawn of Possession mixed with Here and After, and you get Failures for God. There are some dissonant melodies, there are some awesome progressive moments, technical moments as well. I do love the solos on this. The overall elements or surprises, No Jesus, No Beast, such an awesome song. The Devil I Know is an amazing song as well. It's got one of the best conclusions, one of the best outros of any album, in my opinion, from Immolation, especially the guitar work on this. God Made Filth is another awesome song. Stench of High Heaven, another great song. This is a fantastic album by Immolation, and it is definitely one of the best. I really toss between which albums I prefer because I love all these albums. Just a really interesting moments. There are some hard-hitting, fast sections along with slow sections as well, incorporating elements of doom metal, but not as slow as Incantation or even Asphyx. But it still has a doom hybrid element on this album. But overall, Failures for God is such an awesome album. I think the only problem with this album, the reason why it's not as high, is the overall production. Production does sound muddy at times on this, where the guitar work does get lost within the mix, and the bass by Dolan does get lost in the mix as well. But yeah, Ross Dolan's vocals are incredible on this album. They really are. Definitely the most demonic and evil sounding voice he has on this. I love it. I love his vocals. But there is one album where he even sounds more demonic and more fucking evil. And this is Close to a World Below. This is a fantastic album. This is when Immolation changed their sound to a much more darker and edgier sound, incorporating elements of blackened death metal. Yes, they have a blackened tinge on this. Father, You're Not a Father is definitely one of my favorite songs. Definitely one of my favorite songs of any Immolation album. Close to a World Below, the self-titled track, which is like 8 minutes. Got Highway Coward, which is a great way to kick off the album. The melodies are so damn dark on this album. This is the most evil sounding album by Immolation, in my opinion. This is a Black and Death album, so this does remind me of bands such as Behemoth. It's got a Behemoth edge on this. Immolation are such an awesome band, especially when they do change their sound, and I just love it. It's very fast, very hard hitting. The drumming is out of this world. I love the guitar work, and Ross Dolan's vocals are so damn demonic and evil on this. I love this album. Next up is their latest album, Atonement. This is fantastic, it really is. In my opinion, this is the most doomiest album by Immolation. There are some very slow elements on this, like Fostering Divide has a really slow section along with When the Jackals Come. There are some fantastic drumming on this. It's like you're throwing all of Immolation's albums in a cauldron, you mix it up in a nice concoction, and behold, this is what you get. You get Atonement. And there are absolutely fantastic songs like Atonement, Above All, The Power of God, and Epiphany to end off this album. There are some amazing guitar work. I love the dissonant guitar on this, the beautiful solos. This is Immolation's, this is one of Immolation's best work in my opinion. Absolutely love it. There are also, like I said, there are also some slow sections. This is one of the most doomiest Immolation albums out there. Incorporate elements of black and death metal along with old school death metal as well. And this is a fantastic album overall. Absolutely adore it. Atonement sits here. Now this is when it gets incredibly hard for me. The next two albums are so... oh wow, I don't know. This is incredibly hard for me. I don't know whether I should... the next two albums are Dawn of Possession and Hereinafter. And the albums I prefer, coming at number 2, is Dawn of Possession. This is... what can I say? A fucking fantastic album. This is definitely one of the pioneers of dissonant death metal, in my opinion. It's got incredible drumming, incredible guitar work, just absolutely batshit crazy tempos as well. The tempo slowed down, the tempo speed up. This is a very evil sounding album again. I love Ross Dolan's vocals on this. I didn't like his vocals at first, but they have really grown on me. I love this album. Songs like Into Everlasting Fire, along with Dawn of Possession, Those Left Behind, No Forgiveness Without Bloodshed, and you got Immolation to end off the album. The self-titled band track name, holy shit. What an absolutely incredible album. It really is. It's fast, it's heavy, and it's absolutely brutal. It's an old school death metal album that was released in 1991 that definitely paved the way for bands such as Nile, Cryptopsy, and other technical death metal bands out there. This album was a gateway for many other bands to explore that dissonant realm. And another dissonant album that is my very favorite album, it is Hereinafter. Hereinafter is such an awesome album, it really is. I wanted to put Dawn of Possession as number 1, I really did, but I just feel that, I feel in my heart that Hereinafter I prefer a little bit more. Ross Dolan's vocals, absolutely insane, aggressive, demonic in tone, and again, it's a blasphemy, anti-religious, anti-Christianity. The themes are all about God, Christianity, and everything like that. And yeah, there's a lot of emotion conveyed throughout Ross Dolan's vocals on this. The guitar work is absolutely fantastic, along with songs like Burn With Jesus, you got Hereinafter. They incorporate elements of old school death metal, a little bit of doom metal on this. And you got Crisis Cage to end off the album. You got songs like Under the Supreme, Hereinafter, the self-titled track. There's just so much good stuff on this album. The drumming is incredible. It really is. I love the aggressive elements, the technical elements, the dissonant melodies that just get really stuck in your head. It does. And the dissonant moments just throw you off guard. Like, you can never get bored with this album. And that's why Hereinafter is sitting at number 1. Guys, comment below what you thought about this Immolation album ranking. Do you agree or disagree with my opinion? Rank your favorite albums below. Drop a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you in the next one.